Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Naomi, and I want to talk to you today about 7 really important reasons why you should do prenatal yoga. I mean, if you're pregnant. If you're not pregnant, avoid prenatal yoga, just, as a general rule, because you don't need it necessarily. But if you are pregnant, there are lots of fantastic reasons to do yoga throughout your pregnancy, whether it's specifically called prenatal yoga or whether you're just doing yoga. And I want to tell you what some of those benefits are. Now, before we get started, I want to just make one tiny little caveat, which is this, okay? Yoga cannot promise you any of the things that I am going to list as benefits, okay? What yoga can say is, this might help, right? If you do yoga, this could happen. It's not a guarantee, but it does give you a lot of really great incentive to get on your yoga mat throughout your pregnancy and just make sure that you are taking care of yourself from the first moment that you know that you're pregnant until you are ready to deliver, or at least when baby is ready to, come on out, because it's not always your choice. So anyway, okay. So number 1, I think, is the most important reason to practice yoga throughout your pregnancy. So the number 1 reason why you should practice yoga throughout your pregnancy is because it keeps your body healthy throughout your pregnancy in 2 ways. Okay, the first way that it really helps your body is that it supports your changing body. Okay, so what that means is over the course of your pregnancy, your body is going to change and grow and do all kinds of wild and amazing things. Okay, the sooner that you start your yoga practice, the easier it is to build up through it so that as your body is changing, your yoga practice can grow and change with you, right? Not all movement-based practices can do that, although many can, but yoga is one of the ones that really kind of grows and flows with you. So that's the big one, part of number 1. And then the second reason is that it helps tone some of those big important muscle groups that, are essential not only for the health of your pregnancy, but also for the health of your body through labor and delivery and postpartum. So those muscle groups that yoga will help you work are your pelvic floor, your low back, your hips, your core, all of those, right? And it does that again progressively over the course of your pregnancy, so that if you start in a certain way and you slowly start to build up, it's a lot easier to maintain than if you start, like at 32 weeks pregnant, which is just about how pregnant I am right now. But if you start at 32 weeks pregnant, you're starting a little further back, right? But if you maintain that practice throughout your pregnancy, then when you get to 32 weeks pregnant or 34 weeks pregnant or 38 weeks pregnant, or when you're 5 weeks postpartum, you have so much more to back you up physically that will help you in so many ways. So start early and be consistent. But that number 1 reason is that yoga will help keep your body healthy throughout your pregnancy, support your growing body, and tone those important muscle groups that will help you stay healthy throughout your pregnancy and postpartum. Okay, so number 2 and number 3 are things that I touched on in number 1. Okay, so I'm going to tell you both of them. The number 2 is that doing yoga throughout your pregnancy can actually help you through labor and delivery. Okay, now it's not going to guarantee that you are going to have a vaginal delivery. It's not going to guarantee that you are not going to be in labor for like 40 hours. Yoga can't promise you that. Well, pretty much nothing can promise you that. But yoga can give you the tools to navigate your labor and your delivery, whatever it looks like, with more skill. Right, with just a little bit more in your toolbox, so that having certain breathing techniques, having, again, those muscle groups that you've toned, your pelvic floor, your legs, your core, your low back, having all of that, prepared and ready can make the experience of labor, whether you deliver vaginally or whether you deliver via C-section, can make that process a lot smoother. Okay, so there are no guarantees. It's not going to mean that you're going to have like a 2-hour labor. All that it means is that it can make that process a lot smoother. And I think that's a risk. It's not a risk. I think that's a leap worth taking. Okay. And then number 3 is that it can really make your postpartum recovery also a lot smoother. So again, can. And the reason that I say can is that there are all kinds of factors that lead into that. There are all kinds of things that can happen in labor and delivery and immediately postpartum, and you might not be able to get back on your mat immediately, but what it can do is give you some of those same sort of the muscle groups that you've toned during your pregnancy. If you worked them and if you were really consistent with your practice, it's a lot easier for your body to rebound and to step into that practice again because you were consistent with it and because your body memory, your muscle memory is pretty strong. Okay, so number 2 and number 3 is that yoga can make the process of labor and delivery a little bit smoother and a little bit sweeter, and that it can make your postpartum recovery also a little bit smoother and maybe a little bit easier. Okay, number 4. Number 4 is really basic. Endorphins are fantastic, right? They're absolutely fantastic. I mean, wasn't it in Legally Blonde where Reese Witherspoon's character said, like, people who work out are happy, they don't kill their husbands? Just go with me on this one, right? Endorphins make you happy, right? So when you are doing things like yoga or really any kind of movement throughout your pregnancy, those endorphins literally give you, some positive vibes, and they make your body feel really good, right? Not only do they make your body feel good, but they can make your brain feel really good. So endorphins are fantastic, and that's why you should do yoga during your pregnancy. Number 4. Number 5. Number 5 is it's kind of a sweet one, and it's one that I very much believe in and subscribe to, which is that doing any yoga practice during your pregnancy, throughout your pregnancy, is going to build a stronger connection between you and this, tiny human that you are slowly growing in your body. And that's kind of a big deal. Particularly early on, it can be really hard to even know like what's going on in there. It can even be scary, right? Like you don't know what's happening. But doing a yoga practice and just connecting in and, as you move through your pregnancy, as you move into your second trimester, when you start to feel movement, as you move into your third trimester where you feel much more movement and, this baby is growing even bigger and you can really connect even more deeply. Oh, it's so sweet, right? It's so powerful, right? Not only can you connect a little bit more powerfully to baby, but you also have the opportunity to connect a little bit more powerfully to your future self as mom, right? Like connecting deeply into like that mom that you're going to be, So number 5 is a really sweet one. It provides a deeper connection. It can provide a deeper connection between you and your baby and also between you and yourself. Number 6 is that doing a yoga practice throughout your pregnancy can really help you combat some of those common pregnancy ailments. Now, I sort of use ailments in quotation marks because they're not necessarily ailments, but they're just common aches and pains that can sometimes go along with, growing a human being in your body, right? Your body is changing at a rapid pace, right? So not only is your belly getting bigger, but your boobs are swelling, your internal organs are shifting around and moving into weird places, right? Your body just doesn't feel like yours, okay? And in addition to that, as you get bigger, you start to feel maybe low back pressure. You start to feel pubic pain. You start to feel aches in your shoulders. You might feel, all kinds of just weirdness in your body. And yoga can be an incredible tool to help you combat some of those very common aches and pains. Okay? Now, it might not fix them, but it will definitely help make you feel better. Now, yoga can also potentially help you with some of the other side effects of pregnancy, which are like nausea and insomnia and headaches. Again, yoga might not be the thing that completely takes away your headaches. It might not completely take away your nausea. And even in some cases, it might make you feel even more nauseous, right? But there are also yoga practices that you can do that are more mellow, like restorative yoga, that can be really, really sweet to help combat. So it's not always super active yoga. Sometimes it's a little bit more chill. Ultimately, number 6 is that yoga can help you combat those common pregnancy ailments or aches and pains or just, that feeling of general funkiness in your body when you're sort of what is happening here? This does not feel like me. Yoga is a really great way to help alleviate some of that. Last one, number 7. Number 7 is that if you are consistent with your yoga practice throughout your pregnancy, it gives you even more ability to be consistent and to return to that practice postpartum, right? Because your body will crave it, right? It's so hard postpartum, particularly with your first, at least that was my experience, to immediately dive back into movement. And you might not even want to. You might not be able to, right? Like if you have a C-section, you really can't do much of anything for the first 2 weeks, even up to the first 6 weeks. If you delivered vaginally, but there was a lot of tearing, it might be super uncomfortable. If you have diastasis recti, or if you have, any number of other things that can occur during labor and delivery or during your pregnancy, it can be really tough to come back to movement immediately postpartum or even within the first 6 months postpartum. But if you have a consistent yoga practice throughout your pregnancy, again, that muscle memory will give you the incentive to come back. Your body will crave it. And so even if you're only doing small movements, even if you are just doing cat-cow, even if you are, doing a low back stretch with your hands at the wall, even if you're, just doing a little gentle twist from side to side, your body will start to want to get back into that rhythm, to that consistent practice that you established. And it will give you the incentive to do it. And because you've already done it, and because you have all those practices, and because you have all of that built up, you will have a built-in yoga practice waiting for you when your body is ready again. And I think that's a really powerful reason, and that's why it's number 7. Okay? So those are my top 7 reasons why you should do yoga throughout your pregnancy. I think they're pretty awesome reasons. I think they're pretty convincing. If you haven't started doing yoga yet and you are pregnant, I highly recommend checking out a yoga class. You can find them online here on my channel. You can find them all kinds of places, but really just get on your yoga mat and move and take care of your growing body, because this is the home that you live in. It's the home for you. It's the temporary home for your eventual kiddo who is going to be earthside at some point. So make sure that you take phenomenal care of yourself and make yoga a part of that phenomenal care. Thanks for tuning in. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on this video and doing yoga throughout your pregnancy. If you've done yoga throughout your pregnancy and you have comments and it was really supportive, please leave them in the comments below. If you are new to yoga and you're pregnant and you don't know where to start, please let me know in the comments below, and I am happy to point you in the right direction. But as always, thank you for being here, and I look forward to chatting with you again really soon. Until then, bye.